Hi friends, welcome to one more result analysis video with me. Today we are going to talk about a red hot stock across social media. Many investors and speculators speculate a lot in this stock. I am talking about IDFC First Bank. The bank has just reported its results and today we are going to do an in-depth analysis of the bank and the results, and as always in my video analysis I will give you some key takeaways that you need to ponder about. So let's first discuss how are we going to go about this analysis. We are going to go about this analysis on four parameters. Number one, we will set the context of our discussion about the legacy of IDFC First Bank. Then we are going to talk about the loan growth and then the deposit growth and the NPAs that the bank is really reporting. And then we will talk about how the bank can make some improvements in terms of its OPEX and cost to income. And lastly, we will tell you about the valuation and the conclusion that you can take from this video. So let's first talk about the context, and let's first talk about what is the legacy of IDFC First Bank. We have seen in 2012, Capital First was merged with IDFC. IDFC was Infrastructure Development Finance Corporation. It was a predominantly infrastructure dominated bank and it used to give out infrastructure loans. Due to very high NPAs and lack of additional capital, IDFC Bank found it very difficult to grow. In 2012, a decision was taken that in 2017, sorry, a decision was taken where IDFC and Capital First merged and a new bank called IDFC First Bank was created. From then on, B. Vaidyanathan, the leader of IDFC First Bank, took over the bank and decided to completely run down the infrastructure book. The infrastructure book, as you know, in India is a very toxic book. A lot of NPAs come out of that book, and V. Vaidyanathan decided to completely turn around that book and concentrate only on retail loan growth. And retail now continues to be the predominant focus of IDFC First Bank. Infrastructure book is now only at 3.7% of the total loan book and it continues to run down. So all the legacy book that was with IDFC Bank, after it became IDFC First Bank, is starting to run down. And over the last two and a half, 3 years, that is what V. Vaidyanathan has done, that he has run down all the infrastructure book and the toxic NPAs of the bank are now cleared out. So that's the whole context of IDFC First Bank. Over the last two and a half, 3 years, V. Vaidyanathan has found it very difficult to run down the book. However, he has now been very successful in doing that. So let's now talk about the key parameters of the Q3 results. We have already seen that the bank has reported a 25% loan growth. That loan growth is spread across all the loan areas. Home loan continues to do extremely well. It's the new area that IDFC First Bank has come in. Secured, unsecured, retail loans continue to do extremely well for the bank. 25% growth is according to the system's growth. System's growth this quarter was anywhere between 18 to 20%, and IDFC First Bank continues to grow at about 25%, which is really good for the bank. It is in line with what the system is really doing. Then let's talk about the deposit growth. The deposit growth for the bank has been exceptional and spectacular. As you can already see on the screen, the deposits have grown by 44%, which is, considering the fact that the system deposit growth was only at 10%, a spectacular growth. The bank continues to get deposit, and V. Vaidyanathan himself, to be honest, is very perplexed and shocked with this strong inflow of deposits. So deposit is the bread and butter of a bank, on which it builds its loan growth, on which it builds a lot of other cross-selling products. So deposits growing very fast for IDFC First Bank means that it is becoming stronger and stronger, which is a very positive outcome for the bank. Now let's talk about the NPA numbers and what's going on there. So we have already seen IDFC First Bank had guided for about 1.5% of credit cost this year. Now that has come down to 1.13%. The credit cost seems to be very good. The gross NPA numbers have declined by 100 basis points, and the provisioning coverage ratio has been strengthened this quarter, together with the fact that slippages are easing out and the provision coverage of the bank is very, very strong. You will find that IDFC First Bank is on a very strong footing on the basis of NPAs. The slippages over the next 1.5 to 2 years also continue to remain extremely benign according to the management. So from here on, the bank is very well positioned, and on top of this, the bank is sitting on a capital adequacy ratio of about 16%, which means that they will be able to push capital as time really goes on. The credit cycle is strong, and therefore the bank is well positioned to take advantage of this low NPA and a strong loan growth. Now let's talk about the areas of improvement for IDFC First Bank. We already see that the cost to income ratio for the bank is at about 70 to 75%. All top private sector banks have a cost to income ratio ranging in the range of 50%. IDFC First Bank is a very new bank, and because of its new origins, it has to invest a lot in expanding its network. I find that there is a lot of chance that it can compress its cost to income ratio in the coming 5, 7, 10 years, and that could directly flow into the profit and loss account as the operating leverage goes on. So in my opinion, cost to income ratio, not in the near term, but as the branches grow more and more profitable, you will find that the cost to income ratio also starts to come down. So that's a very positive for the bank, that the cost to income ratio has started to come down very slowly, but if it starts to go from the current 70 to 75% to about, let's say, 65% first, that 5% profit will straight flow through the P&L statement. So very good opportunity for the bank to improve its cost to income ratio. Let's talk about the valuation of the bank. The valuation of the bank is at about 1.6 times price to book. We also should understand that IDFC First Bank has not undergone a cycle of seasoning of its NPAs. Of course, many people say that Capital First did go through a cycle of seasoning of NPAs, and they were very, very low. But running a bank and running a NBFC is a completely different story. And you will find that running a bank is far more challenging than running an NBFC. So in my opinion, the valuation is not very cheap for the bank, and we must see the seasoning of the NPAs for the bank in the coming 2 to 3 years to really understand what is the quality of the book. So then, what is the key takeaway from this results analysis video? Uh, Two or three things. Number one thing, the results are very, very stable. The loan growth is in line with all other private sector banks, and there is nothing to complain about. The deposit growth is spectacular, and I feel that this will taper down. However, it is still better than the system's deposit growth. Therefore, it's a positive for the bank that it is becoming stronger and stronger. On the gross NPA, net NPA, and the capital adequacy, the bank is on a very strong footing, and you will find that it will push credit into the system over the next 1.5 2 years and grow very strongly. The bank's ROA and the ROEs will continue to come in at a very strong rate, which is a key parameter that we need to monitor for a bank. So therefore, over the next 1.5 2 years, as the credit cycle continues to move up, IDFC First Bank will also benefit out of it and do extremely well in the next 1.5 2 years. After that, we need to see how the seasoning of the NPAs plays out. If you like my video, do subscribe to my channel and stay with me for more such result analysis video.